Hello! Happy Friday. I thought I would try for an entrance. Did it actually work? We started with nobody here for a minute and just music playing, and then I entered. Did that happen? Is my microphone off? Why are you hiding? Could you tell I was hiding underneath here and I slipped that way? I guess I could have a computer over there that I started the stream from. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome. Today is Friday, which means Coding Train Day. Hello perhaps to the NYU Tandon student I met at the library yesterday. Maybe, probably unlikely, but if you're watching, say hello in the chat. And Tandon is the School for Engineering at New York University in Brooklyn, and I'm often there working in the library, and every time I'm there, somebody comes up to me and says they've watched one of my videos, which is kind of amazing, because it really doesn't happen too many other places, or really any other place, frankly. All right. Looks like, let me get my chat up here. Hello to the, I don't think I actually sent a little notification here. I'm going to say at channel, I am live now. If you're wondering where I am sending this to, there is a Slack channel that you can get an invite to by joining the Patreon or joining the YouTube thing through the join membership, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. Today I will just be saying blah the entire time. I had this idea that I wonder if I could do a coding tutorial just through guttural sounds and gesture. But maybe today is not the day to try doing that. Also might not be the most accessible way to do a tutorial. So I am going to talk about something called word2vec today. Before I get into that, let me do some housekeeping. It's not really housekeeping, but I'm so unprepared for word2vec, but I spent 5 minutes preparing for this live stream by pulling up a couple links of things I wanted to show. So first of all, if you are not already aware, let's see if this actually works. Processing Community Day is happening in Los Angeles on January 19th, 2019. That is a Saturday, I believe. It is happening at UCLA, and you can get your tickets there. Early bird tickets are available until October 31st. I will be there. My kids will be there because we have a new track for families. And there's lots of exciting, wonderful stuff that's happening that day. So I encourage you to come if you can. Now, if you cannot come to the Los Angeles Processing Community Day, because maybe that is just not a place you can get to reasonably, check out PCD Worldwide. There are, at the moment, many processing community days in all of these cities around the world. This is kind of unbelievable. And I wanted to highlight one. The organizers some of the organizers are alumni of the program ITP, where I teach. And they are hosting a processing community day in India. It looks to me like here there are actually 4 in India. I know it's probably like around midnight. Is it midnight? Isn't like India like some places in India is a half hour off. So either midnight or 12:30 in India. And I'll show you this one here in Bangalore on February 2nd, 2019, organized by these wonderful folks. Rushali, who I believe is probably actually just a couple floors down in this building right now. I kind of have a fantasy of going to one of these processing community days in India. We'll see if I can make that happen. It's a little difficult to travel that time of year so far, but who knows? All right, so that's one thing I want to mention. I also wanted to give a shout out to Coding Train viewer Eliza, who I just discovered has a podcast with kind of like the most awesome name ever, Unicorns Fart Pixels. That is so wonderful. And I have to admit, I discovered it because somebody mentioned that I was mentioned, and I listened to the episode where she talks about Coding Train amongst other things. So there's a little bit of like vanity here in me showing you this podcast. But, so I did listen to episode 5 first, yesterday, which talks about Bob Ross and me and Patricio and Coding Train and Book of Shaders and all sorts of other things. But I'm planning to go back and listen to the other episodes. So I encourage you to check out this wonderful podcast about web development and creative coding. It's great. Unlike my frantic, frenetic behavior, I feel like Eliza has a very nice, soothing, comforting quality in her voice in this podcast. So I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention, as a frame for reference, that the Coding Train has a website. And for every coding challenge that I do, I have a page on the website. So I'm trying to get this better, but you can see, so this is, by the way, something that is an opportunity for the community to contribute to. So if you're interested in helping with maintaining this website, that's wonderful. Niels Webb did, at Niels Webb on GitHub, I think, did almost all of the work for building this website out originally, and lots of people have contributed. I'll note me, I am so me, who has made lots of technical improvements and fixes and advised on this, and Austin, who has also contributed a lot of like the visual design interface stuff. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is it's been a little, I guess I don't mention this every video, and it's been a little light on the community contributions. So this is not the simplest system, but if you're looking for your first open source contribution, you can add a project that you have made based on one of my challenges to this page by following these instructions. It involves making a pull request on GitHub. There's no content management system for this other than the GitHub repository itself. That is certainly something I could think about incorporating in the future, but if you're here, I can click on this, and we can see this is Cole Spears. Ooh, look at this. Rotate zoom with mouse scroll, press space or enter for new Lisa Zhu shape, and check console for 3D Lisa Zhu table position. Okay. So looks like I can rotate around this. If I hit the space bar, it starts over. What were some of the other commands? My brain does not remember anything. Scroll, oh yeah, scroll, I can zoom in and out. So this is lovely to see, and I love seeing these contributions of projects that people have made, and I like to, if I can remember, highlight them on the live streams as well. I'll note that there is this new button. Someone recently made a pull request so that I have this button that just takes you right to the code. And then if I could manage to remember to port, which I already actually did, but there is actually already a P5.js port of this challenge. And I believe it's actually linked to right here, but this live example should actually take you to it running in the browser, but it's not currently. So that's something that somebody could add to this page that's missing, and there's information on this, like see how to contribute stuff. All right, so I wanted to mention that. Oh, also, I've got all this new design stuff that you might have seen. Thank you to Jason Hegland. New characters and sort of a new little train passengers. I love them so much. Little brackets and the semicolon. They're like my friends. Oh, I like little, this is the this dot over there. There's the semicolon, the asterisk. I would love any design ideas or feedback or to incorporate into the site of some of the new materials. And I've posted where is all this stuff? It is at github.com/codingtrain/website. If I go here under issues, yeah, like I even posted an issue here, new Coding Train banner. I gave it the Hacktoberfest tag. There's this Hacktoberfest thing going on. I'm trying to, I guess, which is run by DigitalOcean. I'm waiting for my DigitalOcean sponsorship. And if you support open source projects, you can earn a limited edition t-shirt. So I've been trying to remember to tag various things that I'm involved with Hacktoberfest. All right, so I wanted to mention that. Now, one more thing. If anybody, while you're watching right now, I have a little challenge for you to do while you're watching. I was going to do this as part of the live stream, but I think it might be more efficient to have somebody do this while I'm doing other stuff and then give me the results. So I want to, at some point today, before I leave, train a word2vec new word2vec model with a source text. And I thought maybe it would be interesting to see what happens if I use my Nature of Code book as the source text. It's a pretty decent amount of text. It's not huge. Obviously, to have a robust model, and I know the camera just went off, I would need a much larger body of text, but this is something I think we could work with right now. So in order to do this, though, it's a little bit tricky. This is the repo you want to be at, Schiffman/Nature of Code. Clone or download this repo. You're going to want to go into chapters. And then this is all of the raw HTML, all of the raw text of the book. Welcome, title page, dedication, blah, 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 and all the different chapters. So what I need is to take all of these HTML files, strip out, maybe using a regular expression or some kind of like fancy Python thing that you know about, strip out all the HTML tags and leave it with just the text, the raw text of the book, and then concatenate it all into one file. So I basically want one file, natureofcode.txt, that is just the raw text of the book, and I'll use that to train a word2vec model. This also could be useful because I could use it for an LSTM example that I would hope to make, and And by the way, it's okay. I do this. I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be saying acronyms and having people watching me going, I don't know what that is. I have to leave now. This is not for me. LSTM, it is something that actually Nabil Hussain was here last week, did a guest presentation on, but it's a kind of neural network that can be used for sequence data and for generating text. And so word2vec is a thing maybe we've never heard about. I don't claim to be an expert on word2vec at all, but I am going to talk about it and show a wonderful tutorial by Alison Parrish, which covers a lot about how word2vec works, and then try to play around and make some examples with word2vec today. All right, yeah. So Matthew Braun made a note in the chat here. Ignoring the gemfile.lock vulnerability on GitHub. Yes, I did conveniently ignore that. I couldn't actually figure. So I now, by the way, so GitHub, when you have a project hosted on GitHub and one of your packages that your project is dependent on has a security vulnerability, and it will give you this alert. And I was able to, I had this alert for all these node packages, and I know you do like npm something audit, and you fix that and upgrade stuff, and it works. I was able to do that. I could not figure out how to fix the gemfile.lock vulnerabilities. Maybe I would totally accept a pull request on that if that's a thing. I think that's a thing that somebody could do without me being an administrator. I don't know enough about Ruby stuff, and frankly, I don't think, oh no, yeah. Oh, this is for GitHub pages. That's why it's in there. So anyway, please don't fix it. Oh, Niels Webb is saying don't fix it. Niels Webb in the chat. Stop. Stop. All stop, train, pull, stop. Pull the emergency brake. I know. Niels Webb says don't fix it. I was expecting by the time I said that there would be more information about why not to, but that's that for now. All right. Let's see here. I think that was my introduction to the fact. Now I have to start doing some content. Here's the thing. I said I was going to do word2vec, and I think I should do word2vec today. Oy, but you know, I made a mistake because I'm going to talk about word2vec in my NYU class a week and a half from now. And typically, you might think that I have no idea what I'm doing and I never practice and I'm just winging it, which is mostly true. But I do have a policy, especially when I'm trying a new topic. I try to actually look at it in my course first, where I have students that I can engage with and talk about and get feedback from and answer questions and get tips on. And then I try to make a video about it. So I really should probably wait a couple weeks, but I already put it as the title of this, and I got nothing else. I got nothing else for you today. Besides, I could do like a flocking coding challenge, which I keep meaning to do. Actually, I was thinking of submitting something about flocking to Tom Scott's guest thing. I mean, maybe Tom Scott. But anyway, I should mention this just because this is a cool. If you're a YouTuber or want to submit Tom Scott, who's a wonderful channel. To have guests for 1 month. Anyway, it probably doesn't make sense for me to submit anything. I'm probably the wrong person for this, but anyway, I'll mention it now. All right. Oh no! This is visible. I do not want to buzz. I have my own special by hand. I don't want to talk about this cup over here anymore. Won't even mention it. Thank you, Sahil Khatri. I guess the super chat is back on. I don't know, it was off. It's back on. Okay. All right. Niels Webb writes, breaking news, everyone. Someone make me a breaking news, like a custom coding train breaking news sound effect. It should have like, and then like, you could use my voice if you want. Breaking news. Coding train, breaking news. Someone can remix all that into something amazing. I'll totally use it all the time. New member, Anubhav Arun. Thank you. Welcome, Anubhav Varun. I will be sending out, if you're a new member, check the community tab for the posts that you can view that have a link to a Google form to get in the Slack channel. Okay, Niels Webb writes, I have an updated version locally, but it's not pull requested yet. There is also some really weird stuff, I like weird stuff, going on with it that completely breaks everything when you try to reinstall the website's dependency. It's awesome. And I finally got it working locally. Toot toot. I added the toot toot. Although there is a little like one of those emojis, ta-da, emojis. This is the sound for that emoji, I think. But I added the toot toot. Jabba asks, what's going on? Right now you're watching a person who is desperately procrastinating by randomly talking about nonsense in order not to have to do a tutorial about word2vec. But I'm going to stop procrastinating and I'm going to talk about word2vec. Deep breathing, everyone. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So I need to pull up some stuff here. I want to first go to github.com/shiftman/p5 word2vec. This is an old repo where I'm going to pull some stuff from. Mostly I wanted to grab this URL. Then I want to say Allison Parrish, strange loop. I want to also recommend this particular, there's a way, there we go. This looks good. I wanted to recommend this particular talk from Allison, which is really amazing. And then I also want to, let's see, I'm looking for a reference. Yeah, I'm looking for here. Hold on, this is like the most roundabout way ever to find this thing that I'm looking for. Then I'm looking here, word vector source. Then I want to go here, okay. And then I actually should keep this as well, because this is another reference that I used to create the materials that are in my head that I'm going to work on today. And then there's one other place. Oh yeah, glove word2vec. Yeah, all right. Okay, so now I have all of my references, and I can begin. Okay. Hold on, just looking here. Here's a quick spreadsheet for the word2vec, just in case. Interesting. Wonder what that is. All right. Hello, India. So many viewers from India. That's wonderful. All right. So how am I going to do this? I have no plan. My entire plan is this. To just give you some background, I made a little P5 module about word2vec. Maybe this was a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that, a year and a half ago. Interestingly, what is word2vec really? Is it the training, a group of related models that are used to produce word embeddings? Interesting. All right. All right. Oh, sorry, I'm over here. All right. I think I'm just going to begin. What I was going to say was, I think that today might actually just be largely exploratory, and I just try a bunch of things and not actually take the content and make edited tutorial videos out of them. But then I realized I don't know how else to do it. So why not just start with Allison's tutorial. Okay. Oh, glove is not word2vec? Global vectors for word representation. Yes, sorry, but it does have, so this is a great point that is that Simon is making. Simon writes in the chat, it is, and thank you, Mathieu, for reminding me about the LSTM intros that I need to record. Glove is perhaps using a different algorithm. word2vec is a particular algorithm to generate word embeddings or word vectors. word2vec, a word2vec model, so to speak. And Glove, I guess, uses a different particular algorithm, but if I'm correct, the end result is the same. It's a word that is paired with a 300-dimensional vector. Word embedding is also another way of saying it. So maybe let me put the Glove stuff aside so that that doesn't become a confusing thing, but let me just begin. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. Hello, welcome to a new session from, I don't know, is it the machine learning course? Is it the programming with text course? I don't know, I'm just here. I'm just the person who's here. And this session, which will be a whole bunch of videos, is about a topic, word2vec. I'm ringing the bell way too much. First of all, I want to mention something very important. I've known about word2vec, and I've used it in projects for a little while, but I don't think I ever really understood it. And I don't even know that I really do understand it, but I definitely improved my understanding of it vastly after reading this amazing tutorial by Alison Parrish. It's posted as a gist on GitHub. It's a Python notebook, Understanding Word Vectors by Alison Parrish. You know, honestly, if I'm being truthful, you should just stop this video right now and read this instead. But, you know, some people seem to like to listen to me prattle on, which is fine. You could keep watching if you so choose. Read this after then, at the very least. And so this tutorial is released under Creative Commons by 4.0 license. The code itself is the Creative Commons 0 license. So you can reuse this material, which is what I'm doing right now. I don't usually do this. I mean, stuff is always based on other people's stuff, but this first video, I'm really gonna like talk through what's in this tutorial in my own words. If you do the same, please reference with attribution according to the license. Okay, so I also want to mention that Alison Parrish has a wonderful talk. It's on YouTube. I will link to it, called Experimental Creative Writing with the Vectorized Word from the Strange Loop conference. So I also encourage you to take a look at that as inspiration and background for what it is I want to show you. My end goal with this tutorial is to get to the point where I have a P5 JavaScript sketch in the browser where I can do stuff with word2vec. I mean, what is the point of this video that you're watching right now, which I'm taking a very long time to start, is just to answer the question, what is word2vec? By the end of it, I want to use word2vec in projects to make weird stuff happen with text on a web page. All right. How are we feeling? So, all right. So let me come over here for a second because I've written word2vec up here and that's going to help me. The idea of word2vec, and this is a machine learning process similar to other things that I've done that looked at like classification. Is this image a cat or a dog? Or a regression analysis. Can you predict the price of this house based on certain properties of that house? These are classic machine learning examples. Word2vec is a particular machine learning model that produces something called a word embedding. Now, that's a very, very fancy term. And what it means is that any given word, like apple, can be associated with numbers, a vector. We can basically somehow come up with this sort of like numeric, mathematical essence of this word as some array of numbers, like 0.7 and 1.2 and negative 0.345, et cetera, et cetera. And there's going to be some amount of numbers in here. This seems like a crazy thing. Why would I ever want to have a word associated with an array of numbers? Well, one of the things that one can do with arrays of numbers is math, linear algebra, multiplying, subtracting, averaging, adding. So we know we can do that with arrays of numbers. And this is the kind of thing that happens in lots of my other tutorials with programming graphics and pixel processing and machine learning. But one thing we wouldn't know how to do is how would we say, you know, apple plus, I was going to say plus orange, but that could be, I was trying to like come up with something, a good example. This is what happens when you don't plan these tutorials in advance. I have to come up with an example on the fly. Apple plus purple. Could this equal plum maybe? Right? Like in other words, like I'm trying to come up with some like pseudo math. Like let's take these two words and add them together. Like cat plus cute, maybe that equals kitten. And can I take, and like we're not talking about concatenation, apple purple, we're saying apple plus purple. Could I get the sort of mathematical essence of these words, add them together and get a new word? Well, the theory, the prompt, the idea here, that the argument that I am making to you is that word2vec is a mechanism by which you can do stuff like this, right there in your code. If I could quantify the word apple as a series of numbers, and I could quantify the word purple as a series of numbers, then couldn't I just add all those numbers together? I would get a new series of numbers, and then I might look and find which word or has a set of numbers that is most close to this set of numbers. How could I find the similarity? I could calculate a similarity score between any two sets of numbers. I could find the word that has the most similar to this plus this, and maybe it would be plum. Why would it be plum? Is that magic? Is it because of what data this word2vec model was trained on? Well, yes, it's the latter. And so I want to get to all of that. Okay, this is my sort of like zoomed out view of why we're doing this. Let's come over and look at what Allison has in her particular tutorial here, which is a really nice example. If I look at this, we can say like, well, imagine like a really simple case, right? I was sort of saying over here, each word gets a list of maybe 100 numbers. Maybe it's 300 numbers. Maybe it's 1,000 numbers. This is up to us to sort of figure out and decide based on what we're trying to do. But what if we simplify that? And here's Allison's example where each word gets essentially 2 numbers. And those numbers are data properties of that word, like a cuteness score from 0 to 100 and a size from 0 to 100. So you can say kitten is 95.15, a hamster is 80.8, right? There are these numbers that sort of like the label is tied to a set of data properties. So if that's the case, then we could graph all of those and we could say something like, oh, you know, like a horse and a dolphin are kind of like similar in terms of size and cuteness. And then we can start to do things, but actually like we could do a mathematical analysis. Like what is the actual Euclidean distance? Euclidean distance means the number of, well, in this case, pixels or units between these two words right here. These are very similar because they're physically close to each other. And we can also do things, you can think of those as, and this is a nice demonstration of this idea. This is why we talk about it as vectors, right? I have a whole set of tutorials about vectors describing points in space. So for example, a vector, a velocity vector, if I have a particle in a particle system and I want it to go from here to here, this is its velocity, its change in location. In essence, this is basically what I'm doing with an operation like this. For example, what if I said, okay, well, apple is over here, and then I'm going to add purple to it. I'm going to move by purple's numbers, and over here, I now find plum. So when we look at this in 2 dimensions, it kind of makes, we can sort of like, our brains can understand that. 2 dimensions is like the easiest dimension. I mean, I actually find 2 dimensions to be easier than 1 dimension. 1 dimension's weird sometimes. And we could see here that the relationship between tarantula and hamster is just like chicken and kitten. Maybe close to puppy, right? So this, I have to pause for a second. Wow, talk about improvising. I have no idea if this is making any sense. All right. Oh wow, SpongeMan already made my nature of code .txt. Thank you. I'll have to look back at that in a little bit. All right. So what Allison is showing here is by moving from, let's say, one word to another word physically in space, we can establish this idea of word relationships. Chicken is to kitten as tarantula is to hamster. Now this is all very arbitrary with like hard-coded word vectors. So But this is just for demonstration purposes and in 2 dimensions so that our brains can kind of process it. Ultimately, if we have a lot more information somehow about all of these words in higher dimensional space, in vectors that have 100 dimensions, 100 numbers, we can't visualize that so easily. There are interesting techniques called dimension reductionality, reducing the dimensionality that we could then draw like word clusters and stuff, and maybe I'll get to that later. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can establish sophisticated, complex relationships between words in higher dimensional space. But in order to do that, it's useful to look at a single example that ties words to numbers in a low dimensional space that we can either visualize or sort of like put into our brains. And so kind of describe to you what word2vec is, what the model looks like when it's complete. I haven't looked at all about the training process, right? The animals example is hard-coded. I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a port of one of Allison's examples of words associated, colors associated with numbers, right? A word, red is 255, 0, 0. That's a word to a vector. And that's going to be from a data set. And then the third thing that I'm going to do is look at what is traditionally thought of as word2vec, these higher dimensional, large dictionaries of words and their associated vectors, those word embeddings. So that's going to be the journey here. I don't know how many videos it's going to be, 3, 4, 5, 471, something like that. And then at some point I'll try to also do some projects with that. So in the next video, I'm going to do a port of Allison's project, which you can find all in Python, all of the code in Python in that tutorial that's linked in the description. And I'm going to do a JavaScript port of it. Okay, so I'll see you there. Maybe, maybe not. Go read that page. It's excellent. Okay, goodbye. All right, so I have a question for those of you viewing at home or wherever you might be. Had you never heard of word2vec before? And are you a beginner? If so, did that make any sense? Hopefully. All right. Okay. All right, so we're going to come down to the color idea. And I am going to basically do this from scratch, but I am going to, I need to open up, oh, no, come back. XKCD. X. Yeah. I want a new, why is that not opening in a new tab? Come on. XK. I will just do it manually. Open in a new tab. I can close this. This I still need. Let me just open up something here on this computer in case I want to use it as a reference. This is me writes, yeah, made sense. Although I was only half listening. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad. All right. Okay, github.com/. Razvan says that this was okay and understandable. Thank you, Razvan. What am I looking for? Oh yeah, sorry. I'm opening up, I have a repo which has code for doing this. And in case I get really stuck, it would be useful to have it as a reference. If you're looking for it, it's github/shiftman/p5-word2vec. And I'm looking at the word color vectors. But then what I want to get is the color data. Oh, come on. This is so crazy how it won't. Control, open in a new tab. Okay. So I'm going to start with this. And I'm not going to do this in the P5 editor. So this I think requires a bit more. So then I'm going to go to the desktop and do word2vec. Whoops. Oh, It doesn't autofill if it doesn't exist. I'm so used to like Gmail now, it just like finishes my sentences for me. I'm like, you know the directory name that I want to make, just tab, finish it for me. All right, now what am I doing? I'm going to go into that directory. Oh, and then I want to do p5g-b, and what do I want to say? Color, let's say color vectors. Oh, I didn't install this? npm-g, npm install p5 manager -g. So I use a tool called p5 manager, which will spin up all the files I need for a p5 project really quickly. And of course, it didn't work. What's funny is I made all these workflow videos setting up all of my settings, and I made a fresh user on this computer. And then I went back to this user, and none of the stuff is set up. How do I fix that thing again? It's fix, of course I went over this in my video, but I can't remember it. Fix npm permissions. And this is the way that I like to do it. I like to make a directory called npm global, and thus set that as the path. And then export that. And source, but I'm using ZSH. So source ZRS or ZS RCH CR ZCRS. What is it? ZSHRC. That's what it is. ZSHRC. There we go. Now I should be able to install that. Apologies that I'm not explaining what I'm doing, but I do explain this in my workflow videos. Let me get back to the chat here. Ooh, somebody already made a breaking news sound effect. Let's all listen. Okay, whoops, I have my... Okay, hold on. Let me mute that. Somebody made a breaking news sound effect, which I am throwing caution to the wind. I'm just going to play live right now. It's actually pretty good. Okay. That is pretty good. All right. And Simon is telling me that glove is faster than word2vec. Great to know. Thank you. Okay. Now, P5. Oh, you know, I had this idea. Oh, I mentioned Tom Scott. Oh, my brain needs to stay focused on one thing. It does not work that way. P5 P5G-B B I think it's G-B color vectors. Let's try that. Okay, that worked. Then I'm gonna open this up in Visual Studio Code. Let's move over a tiny bit and move over a tiny bit. And then let's get here. I don't want the libraries because I prefer to just use the CDN. And so I have to change the template. I'll do that eventually. CDN P5JS. And let's grab this. Let's use the minified. And put that. I don't want to follow the link. I just want to put this in here. And then I want to put this in here. I want to do this. Copy, 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 copy. I don't think I'm going to use sound. So I can get rid of this. I don't need all this CSS nonsense. And now I am ready. I can say no canvas. Console log hello color vectors. And I can run a server. I could run a live. Oh, are you kidding me? I didn't install any of this stuff in this user. That's so funny. I haven't done it yet. All right, so now I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to say run my server. And now I really should develop something that just spins all this stuff up all at once. Localhost 8080, which I am amusingly Googling instead of, there we go. Hello, color vectors. There we go. All right, we're ready to start coding. Now what I need to do is get I want to get, where am I looking for? Here, I want this file. And I'm going to put it in word2vec color vector xkcd.json. And that's from here. We'll go back to here. And from here. Okay. All right. Yes, Matthew Braun says, copy the CDNs to the template so your future self will be happy. I know, but I don't want to waste the time to do it now, but I won't remember before the next time I come back and you're going to tell me again it's a vicious cycle that never ends. Okay. T-snee. Hachoo! Gesundheit. T-snee. Oh, that's gonna be good for some shtick later. All right. I need an eraser, which I have here. I need a marker, which I have here. Okay. All right. All right, part 2 of my word2vec series. You're back, and I thank you for that. Hello. I'm here to talk about word vectors. All right, so let me mention again. Wow, lots of people are already doing my nature of code thing, which is really cool. All right. Hello, part 2. I think I'm on part 2 of my word2vec series. I'm talking about word vectors, word embeddings, words and numbers and how they go together. Now, let me be very clear here. This particular section, this video, is directly based on this wonderful tutorial by Alison Parrish called Understanding Word Vectors, released under the Creative Commons by 4.0 license. If you also use this stuff, please attribute it according to the license to Alison Parrish. I will include a link to this in the video's tutorial. I talked a bit about word vectors in general and about this tutorial and other things that you might look at for inspiration in the previous video. And now, in this video, I'm going to do a direct port of it's somewhere here. I went too far. There we go. Language with vectors, color. So a lot of people who are watching this live at the moment were asking about, I don't get it. I sort of get that that's like word in vectors or word embeddings, but like what? That made no sense, but I just went off on a tangent here. So people were asking in the previous video, I don't get it. Like I thought that word vectors are just kind of like about the meaning of the word or the meaning of the word in its context or similarity between words. And I don't know, what is cuteness? I had this example before. I looked at Alison Parrish's example with like cuteness and size. What does that have to do with anything? So let me be clear. My goal is to get to the point where we're talking about this more generalized idea that we get word embeddings, words paired with numbers, from a machine learning process that generates these numbers according to the way words appear in a very large body of text. But we're not doing that yet. I just want to look at this idea of a vector space and some of the math associated with it and how that can transfer to text. And this is exactly what Alison Parrish does in her tutorial. And oh, boy, that was a mess. Sorry, everybody. You know what? We should keep that, and then someone should make like a little animated, How can I get this? A little animated thing. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Oh. Breaking news, everybody. This was going well in its own way, but it's, all right. There's somebody talking in the hallway kind of loud. Can you hear them? I can't hear them. All right, let's try this one more time. Yes. Oh, I don't have my ukulele. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Yeah. I guess I will just sort of explain that again. I don't even remember what I said. So, all right. Okay. All right. MK Demo 88 asks, why do you always have to click the camera on and off? I will refer you to the television program Lost from the aughts. What was Lost on? Is it in the 90s? No, it's early 2000s, whatever. I'll refer you to that program where a button had to be pressed. And if that button was not pressed, the world would cease to exist. And I will make the case that if I don't reset that camera every 30 minutes, kaput. Okay. I've slowly lost my momentum. So what I want to do is do a direct port of this example from Alison Parrish about language with vectors colors. Now, people were asking, in the previous video, I kind of looked at Alison's example of like, oh, a word, like an animal, could be paired with data, like its size and its cuteness. What does that have to do with word embeddings? Weren't you, oh, this camera went off. Wait, this camera did not go off. Its cable is loose. Or its plug is out. It's like, there we go. It's a connection issue. Geez, how many times? All right, I don't even know where I was. So what I want to do is go through this exact example, which is in this tutorial in Python, and port it to JavaScript. And what this example is going to do, it's going to give us the opportunity to look at the idea of a word paired with a particular, is this where I was? Oh, and I haven't even been recording this to disk, everything. What a mess. I can do this. I can get past this part where I'm stuck. Okay. Thank you, Siddharth. I don't understand why anyone would possibly give me a super chat right now with what's going on. In the previous, I think I'm going to try to just go from where I walked over there. Mathieu, thank you for everything that you do. So what I want to do is a direct port of this example from Alison Parrish that looks at language with vectors colors. Now, let me be clear about something for a second. In the previous video, I talked a little bit about this example, which was looking at animals in a two-dimensional space where the x-axis is like their size, or the y-axis is the size, and the x-axis is their cuteness. And is that word2vec? Well, not exactly. These are word embeddings, meaning there is a word embedded with some numeric data. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but it's not exactly what you will find if you look up the term word2vec. Word2vec is a particular algorithm, a machine learning algorithm, to take a large body of text and produce these word embeddings, high dimensional arrays of numbers, based on how the words appear in context in that text. I'm going to get to that a little bit later. So sort of in theory, the theory of it is we'll end up with this essence of the word, and words that are similar in meaning or context or what, and it's a big question mark, are going to live close to each other in that 100 or 300 or 1,000 dimensional space. But I'm making the case, and this is really from Alison Parrish's tutorial, that we can maybe understand this concept or practice this concept in a simpler way to start. And that simpler way will be to use a data set. So for example, this is a data set from the color survey results from XKCD. So who in the rainbow can draw the line where the violet tint ends and the orange tint begins? Distinctly, we see the difference of the colors, but where exactly does one first blindly enter into the other? So with sanity and insanity. Oh, how apt. Okay, this is got some bad language on it. Let me come back to this again. Family friendly coding channel. I want to use this data set. It's the XKCD color set. It's the 954 most common RGB monitor colors as defined by hundreds of thousands participants in a color name survey. You can see more information about that survey here. So anyway, but the data set itself is over here in Darius Kazemi's open source project Corpora, which has a lot of interesting JSON data sets. So I have downloaded that data set, and I have it right here. So the question is, can we turn this into a word2vec-like scenario, and what kind of strange outcomes can happen if we could pair each one of these words or sets of words like cloudy blue with a set of numbers? All right, so let's write some code to do this. Oh, internet. I hate you, internet, which means I love you and I hate you. I hate you, internet. I love you. All right, let's write some code. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this the preload function, and I am going to just create a data set. I'm going to say data equals load JSON xkcd.json. And then I'm going to say here in setup console.log data. So let's make sure this works. I'm going to go to the browser where I have my code running and timeout. Got to set a setting. Network, I'm looking for network. Disable cache, there we go. Okay, so we can see here that I have now loaded into that variable that array of 949 colors. Each one is an object with a label, cloudy blue, under the color property, and an actual hex value. So my goal right now is to turn that into a list that looks more like this, the label with a number. Apologies for a second here. Need a tissue. Okay, so all right, so let me first write a little bit of code to kind of process that data. So I am going to, let's write a function, process data, put in a separate function. And I'm going to create a variable, call it vectors. It's going to be an object. And in this object, I first want to go through everything in data. And actually, everything that's in data is in data colors. So I'm going to say let colors equal data.colors. Then I'm going to say colors.length. Oh, autofill, autocomplete. You do not complete me. Colors. And then I'm going to get an individual color is colors index I. And then what I want to do is say vectors. Create. I'm going to use create vector. So this is what's kind of interesting about this. I forgot why I was doing this. All right. So here's the thing. Right now, the data from that data file is just in a big array. And the array has a bunch of objects in it, color, blue, comma, RGB, I forget what it is, and then like the hexadecimal, value like this. It looks like this. I want this to be in an associative array, a dictionary, but I'm just going to use a JavaScript object for that. So just an object where the color blue is the property name, and the value of that property, and originally in my head I was like, oh, I just need to convert this into numbers, and then I could make a little array like 0, 0, 255. But guess what? I want to do vector math. My vector is three-dimensional because there's an R, a G, and a B. There happens to be in P5 itself a class called p5vector, I can make an instance of it with the createVector function. So even though eventually later, if I'm going to be doing vector math on a 100-dimensional vector, an array with 100 numbers in it, this createVector won't work. It's a nice coincidence that RGB has 3 components, just like a 3-dimensional space. Look, coordinate XYZ, a 3-dimensional vector. So I can put in here that P5 vector, createVector 0, 0, 255. So that's what I'm trying to write the code to do. So I can say vectors. So I'm going to actually say label equals colors index I dot color, and then RGB equals colors index I dot, and what is it in here? It is hex. It's under hex. And actually, I'm pretty sure that in P5, if I have a string like let s equal 0, 0, 0, this is the hexadecimal code for red, I can say color s, and it will give me a color object that has the RGB values in it. So what I'm going to do is, this is a little confusing because everything is called color. So there's the colors inside of the JSON file, and each element of the colors array has a color label, and now there's a P5 color function. So there's a lot of stuff called color. It's all different. But I'm going to say RGB equals the color function with the hex thing passed through it. And then I can say RGB.R, RGB.G, RGB.B. So now I'm going to, and then the vectors with that label. There we go. So this is just a little bit of data cleanup to a format that I want to have it. I don't know if it really matters so much, but I think this is going to help. I create an empty object. I look at all the data, the way it's in the JSON file, and then one at a time, I make a P5 vector out of the RGB values. And then I'm going to say a return vectors. And I suppose that it would be nice to like pass in this argument. And I could say let vectors, and then I'm going to say vectors equals, and maybe I'll call this like color vectors. I'll just call it vectors for right now, equals process data data. Okay, so let's see if this works. What's the chance this works? Let's console log the result and see. Okay, that did not work. Can't read property length of undefined sketch.js line 13. Let's console log data. I must have been confused. Oh boy, I'm doing this in the wrong place. Ha! The whole point of preload is that it's a function that you call to make sure the data is ready before you get to setup, because it's loading data, loading a text file, loading a media file is asynchronous in JavaScript, and I'm trying to simplify that. This needs to be in setup. And now I should be able to say this here as well. Okay, here we go. There we go. Now, oh wait, okay, hold on. Weird. What's going on? Oh, there's a setup down here. Too many setups, Mozart, too many setups. Okay, here we go. This is going to be right eventually. There we go. Now I have basically a dictionary where every single one of these colors is paired with a P5 vector with these X, Y, and Z values. Now that's not right. That is not right at all. A lot of zeros in there. Let's see. So there is no .r, .g, or .b property of a P5 color. I made that up completely. Red, it can call the red function and pass in the color. Green, blue. This should work now. Just making up stuff that doesn't work. Okay, R is not defined. This is RGB. There we go. And there we go. Now this is looking right? And algae lives in the vector space 84, 172, 104. All right. Everybody, I could just like have this view of the comments right here where everybody is saying, all right, All right. So, okay. Okay. Thinking about this. Oh, don't go away, computer screen. Come back. How am I doing time-wise? I've got about an hour left. And I am out of hydration. That's bad. All right. Where's my eraser? Now that I have this data set, we can begin to imagine a physical space, a three-dimensional space where all of these colors live. Right? So there's an x-axis, a y-axis, an x-axis, and a z-axis, which is actually coming out from the wall here. And one color might be over here, and another color might be here. One might be off in the distance. One might be very close up, right? So you could imagine this, I'm trying to draw this three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface, but you could imagine now that I could do certain things by, what if I just did a random walk? What if I did a random walk throughout this space? What colors would I find? Let's try that. Oh, why not? Excellent starting point. Okay, so let's say where I'm going to start is I am going to have a position, and in setup, I'm going to say position equals create vector random 255, random 255, random 255. Now, what I want to do basically is, what if I pick a random space in that random vector in that three-dimensional space? Let me find the word, the color that is closest to that. So I'm going to write a new function, which is I'm going to say call find nearest. And this function is going to take in a vector. We'll call it v. And what it's going to do is it is going to, I probably don't need to do this. I'm going to just get all of the keys out of this array. Right? This is a way in JavaScript. I think I could do a for of loop. Let's try that. Right? Or for in loop. I think I can do a for. I think with an right? The reason I'm stumbling here is this looks like an array because it's a whole list of all the colors, but it's not an array. It's an object where each color name is the key and the value is the vector. So I need to iterate through all that stuff. I can't just use a regular loop. But I think in JavaScript I can say for let key in vectors, and then I can say let I guess I'm going to call, I don't know, I can't think of another name for let vec equals vectors key. Then let's find the distance between, oh, you know what though? Guess what? What I want to do is actually, it would be kind of useful to, what I want to do is I want to create a list of all the distances and then sort it. That's going to be nice to do. So actually, let me get this list of keys. Key of keys. And sorry, there's like someone talking for a second. It's for of. No, for of is for an array. Hey, there's a new video from Stand Up Maths, which is called Vector. Why am I looking at my notifications right now? I just want to see something here. Oh. All right, I have a better way of doing this. Yeah, sorry, I just looked up my code for each one was telling me to use. Looked at my code. Let me actually go back, Mathieu. I don't think that's too interesting, me like going back and forth with all the different ways of the for of loop, because let me just go back. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to get a list of all of those colors into an array. So it's important to note that it looks like I have an array of all these things, but this is actually an object where the key, all the keys of the object are the names of the colors paired with the value, which is the vector. But what if I could sort this list by proximity to that other vector? Well, I need an array to be able to do that. And so a quick way I can get an array is I can say keys equals object dot keys from vectors. This gives me, if I just console log this, and I say find nearest, you can see now I just have an array of all of the keys, but I can sort this. I can say keys.sort, and now guess what? If I call a sort function, I can always sort by an array by my own arbitrary comparison of the two elements. So I'm going to use the arrow syntax here, and I'm going to write a function that compares two arbitrary elements, A and B. If you're not familiar with this arrow notation, it's like declaring, it's a new way to declare a function in ES6, not so new, and I'll refer you to my video about the arrow function. But what I'm going to do now is I want to say the distance one is the distance between, I'm going to pretend I have a distance function for a second, vectors, key A, and vectors key B. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The distance between V and vectors, oh my goodness. Yeah, between A, yeah, sorry, I got confused for a second. Remember, I'm trying to tell the array which one is closer to V. So I somehow need to compute the distance between that, my random walker, right, V, and either A or B, which one is closer, and then I can return D1 minus D2. Because what sorting will do is sorting will take the closest one, what sorting will do, sorting, when you have two elements, if you return a negative number, it puts A before B. A positive number puts B before A. It might be the other way around, I can't remember. And if it returns 0, then they're the same. It doesn't need to swap them. So you're just telling the sorting algorithm which one goes before the other one. So I'm going to get a negative number by comparing these two values. Now, of course, I need to have a distance function. So I need to have a distance function that can take a vector and two vectors, v1 and v2, and I can just say return p5.vector.distance. This is a little silly, v1, v2. So I really just am wrapping. There is a distance function already, function distance that will take two p5 vectors, and I can get the distance between them with p5.vector.dist. but I just want to, and I'm doing that exactly here. So I think, let's look at this. Now, I should be able to look here. So let's look at this again and find nearest. Cannot read property dist of undefined. All right, so hold on a second. Let's make sure I have a vector here. Let me actually call find nearest from the code. Oh, I have to call it with something. No wonder it was undefined. You can't just call, the whole point of calling find nearest with a particular vector. Oy. Okay, so this now, does this look sorted to you? Let me actually unfold it. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of colors in here. Greenish blue, tealish, greenish teal, green blue, aquamarine sea, right? I picked some arbitrary spot. Now, what is that color actually? So here's the thing. Did I sort it in the correct order? That would be a question. So let's console log V, and then console log also vectors keys, index 0. This would be the first one. So in theory, these should be two very similar values. Let's see. Whoa, I'm console logging v in too many places. 64, 78, 250, 253, 69, 84. So that makes sense. That's pretty close. 172, 189. Right. So this looks right. If I sorted it the other way, I can never remember which way the sorting works, so I just try it both ways. If I sort it the other way, you'll see I'm getting the furthest thing, the color that's the most different. Okay, so now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a draw loop. And now this function, I want it to return keys index 0. I just want to get the closest one. And so what I'm going to do is in draw, I'm going to say find nearest, and then I'm going to create a div with that color name. I'm going to call it color name, so I don't want to override the color variable, color name. And then I'm going to say I'm going to say let r equal p5.vector random. Is it random 3D that gives me a random vector? I think random 3D will give me a random vector. And then I will say pos.add r. So this is random walk. I'm just going to randomly change that vector and create a div for a new color name. And let's change the frame rate to like 1, so it does this once per second. Let's take a look. So look at this. This is my random walk. You can see that it's not getting very far away. It started with sepia. So I should probably take a bigger step, right? The step is so small that it's mostly wandering around the same color. There aren't that many colors. So I'm going to say r.multiply by 10. So I'm going to make that step much bigger. I changed. Oh, okay. Boy, let's try this one more time. Let's make it much bigger. Yeah, we can go a little faster. There we go. So we can see now I'm walking around. There should be like each one of these steps is a fairly similar color to the previous one. So this is the idea. I am performing a mathematical operation in vector space, walking around a 3D vector. I'm finding the word that is most closely associated with that one by Euclidean distance, and then I am rendering that word on the screen. So this is pretty good. I think there are probably some more interesting things we could try to do. Let me take a break for a second and let me try to do one more example with this data set just to show you a bit more about like analogies and vector math. And then after that, we'll move to an actual word2vec trained model. Why should I use the absolute value? Okay, so why should I use the absolute value? Oh, you know what? Pass 0, 0, 0 for testing. That's an interesting idea. Let's do that. So let's start with, I do need to constrain it, because I don't think there's no negative numbers in this data set. Whoops. Right. So this was starting with 0, 0, 0. All right. Actually, let me come back. Let me not finish that video for a second. Before I move on, let's actually just test something. Like, let's say, for example, I want to, instead of, because it's random, just to make sure this is really doing what we think, let me start with like blue. So I am going to start with, not color, sorry, create vector. I'm going to start with blue, and let's see what we get. Primary blue, pure blue, true blue, pure blue, primary blue. Now one thing that's an issue is I really can't allow negative numbers, because if I'm wandering off to negative land, there's no negative numbers in my data set. So probably to make this a bit more accurate in terms of this random walk, where do I have that? In draw, it's right here. I probably want to say pos.x, there's probably a more thoughtful way of doing this, equals, equals, I need to stay in sort of positive land. So constrain pos.x between 0 and 255. Or I could do like an absolute value or something of the vector. That would be weird. But let's just do this as like a sort of a quick solution. So this will keep me in that space. And let's run this again. Oh. It'll keep me in that space, and let's run this again. And we can see now, eventually after enough time, we're going to walk away from primary blue and end up, sorry, we're in Barbie pink, Barney, neon pink, strong pink. And if you go back to Allison's tutorial, which all of this is based on, let me see if I have that here. Oh, yep, whoops. You can see Allison has a wonderful example, which does the following. Sorry that I don't have this. Sorry. If you go back to Allison's example, if you go back to Allison Parrish's tutorial, she has an example which does something kind of like this, which starts with a little poem. Roses are red and violets are blue, and then randomly walks around, and then you see it by the end we have roses are brown, orange, violets are peacock blue. So you could imagine what is a creative project you could do that takes this idea and expands on it. As an exercise, you might even just try to take my code and make it do exactly what Allison's example does in the tutorial. And so I feel like I want to do one more example with this data set, I think, before I go and look at the larger context of the word2vec machine learning system that will train a model. Oh, set the text to that color. Ah! Oh, that's such a good idea. Oh. Where can okay, I'm going to go back and record all of this stuff. All right, let me go back to where, after I finish the constraint. So even though I start with primary blue, you can see I start walking around and getting more. I'm going to end up somewhere else eventually, but these colors are related as I'm going. Okay, so this is working pretty well the way I imagined it, and of course, Steve and me, I am Sumi, both in the chat are like, hello, set the text to that color. So let's do that. just to that I think will be more interesting. So where I create the div, where do I do that? I create the div here. And I'm going to say let div equal create div. And I'm just going to use the P5 DOM library and say style, background color. Oh, background color. Now, too bad I didn't keep that hex code. Because if I kept the hex code, I could put it right there. Let's keep the hex code. So where I do that, where I process the data, let me add in vectors, label. Oh, it's not an object. It's fine. I'll just use RGB. I'm being lazy here. Oh, this is a very long video. I'm just going to use, I could just say, I'm going to use a template literal RGB. What is it? The vector is vectors color name. Because I just returned the key. So I could have returned the whole vector. So many ways you could do this. And now RGB v dot red, v dot x. Okay, this is easy. This is a fine way to do it. V dot. This is like the CSS syntax. V dot y. V dot z. All right, let's try this. And that should do the trick. All right, here we go. Oh, I put the background color. All right, I meant to set the text color, but how do I set the text color? Font color? No, text color? I don't know CSS. Color, should probably just color. There we go. Okay, so now we can see really how it's also, we can see how this is a random walk through a color space. And I would love to let this go for a little while and end up somewhere. Okay, so Alison Parrish in her tutorial actually does something very similar to this. And I might, as an exercise, suggest doing this. She actually takes this poem, this idea of a poem, roses are red, violets are blue, and walks through the color space for each of these. I've done just a little piece of that. So what kind of creative idea can you do visualizing this three-dimensional color space through words, through color, through a random walk? I think I should do one more. I'm not sure yet. I think I'm going to try to do one more demonstration with this data set, and I'll do that in a separate video. And then I will come back and actually finally go to the point where we look at what does it mean to take a pre-trained set of word embeddings that's actually used the word2vec machine learning model training process. Okay, see you there. Background color is better. Oh, background color worked pretty well. Yeah, all right. There was a super chat, I think, with a question, which I think I should try to answer. Can we draw a circle of color variations with it? Yes. So I could use a canvas. There's lots of things I could do. Like, for example, if I, right here, if I said create canvas 100, 100, I could also do a fill, feed, in the draw function, separate from the divs, I could say background, 0, fill. Why is it doing that? Fill, and I need to do it with v, v.x, v.y, v.z, and then draw an ellipse, which is at 50, 50, 100, 100. So that, if I go back to my sketch, unexpected token, there's an extra parenthesis there for no reason. You can see I'm always now, as this is going down, the circle down. So I probably could do something where I get a dot next to each one of these or something, but you see the idea. And I could also, in this case, maybe it would make sense to not create a new div, but just like replace the previous div. So for example, I could do let div equal here, and then I could say in setup, a div equals create div with nothing in it. And then I could say a div instead here, like div.html color name. And there we go. So this is kind of interesting where I could do it this way, where I'm just walking through it and then drawing it. Okay, let me go back to the bottom of the chat. Doesn't the word as a CSS style work? Oh, that's interesting. Yes, but do all of these? This isn't the list of all the CSS words. That would be another data set that I could use. I don't think macaroni and cheese is a CSS word. Okay. All right, now, Alison has another demonstration on this, on her tutorial. All right, which you could do like the average color of a text. I'm reading the synonyms. I mean, maybe this is really, maybe that's enough. Maybe I shouldn't do another one. Maybe I'm kind of done with this. Actually, Let's try doing something. I have the nature of code text. So let me find one of these nature of code texts. So there's this one from SpongeMan. Okay, nature of code text. Raw. Download. Let's call this noc.txt. And desktop, word2vec. Oh, whoops. noc.txt. How big a file is this? It's only 550. This is the whole book? Yeah, makes sense. All right. So what I want to do is, let's test out this idea first for a sec. Let's get rid of all this stuff and draw. What I want to figure out is how many make a sonnet with color, make a text. Visualize it in 3D. All these are great suggestions. What I want to do is, let me do let noc. And I'm going to say and I'm going to say noc equals join lines, and then console.log noc.length. So I'm just checking something here. I want to see oh, whoops, not there because desktop, this is supposed to be in there. So there, okay, definitely got the whole text of the book. What else am I console logging that I don't need? So one thing I want to do is I just want to do something like, let me find like, so let me just see, noc.split. This could be better, but split by all words. Oh, but there could be, some of the colors are 2 words, but that's fine. And then I want to say if, well, actually, I could use a regular. I'm trying to figure out if how many of the words in XKCD show up in. So, because I was to say if vectors words index I, console log words index I. So I'm basically going through. I could use maybe using a regular expression would make more sense, but let me just do this for a sec. So black, white, grass, gray, constructor. Constructor is a color in the XKCD set. That's weird. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, constructor is a. Oh, how they get you. And what is it? Is own property? I think I have to use is own property. I'm sorry, I'm just figuring this out myself right now. I think there might be a better way to do this. Actually, I should be looking at the chat. Is own property words index I? Let's see this. Has own property. Has own property? Yes. So right. Okay, great. So these are all the words that I use in Nature of Code. But this isn't great because I'm missing things that are 2 words. So another way I could do this would be to, another way that I could do this would be to all the and then create a regular expression out of that key. And then let's try key match, NOC, console log NOC match regex. And how do I add the flag? Like this? GI? I think that's how I do it. Let's see what this does. Not. So, new regexp. That's right. Why did that give me that error? 21. Oh, reg. Oh, that's a G. That's supposed to be a G. Okay, sorry about that. Right. Okay, so red matched a bazillion times, gray. So this works. Rose, rust, cream. T. Oh, T. I say T? Oh, because no. It's got to match it with a word boundary, right? T is probably in a lot of words, but not as its own word. So how would I do that? Equals like with a word boundary like this. So let me just see. Let me do this, matches, and if matches, console log matches. I don't want to print out all the null. It's got to match something. This must not be right. String includes would be better. Index of. Yeah, index of. But I don't know what I'm doing here. This is sort of pointless. I think what I just want to do is get a small section of the book. So, and I'm not going to, like, let me just get a paragraph, like, here. I'm going to do something different. This will be good. Rainbow Wikipedia. Okay. Let's rename this to a rainbow. So this definitely has the word red in it. And let's actually, I'm just curious. Let's see what this gives me. Oh yeah. That definitely, where's red? Didn't match red, why not? Oh, I know why. I probably need to do this. Right? Yeah, there we go. That's what I needed to do. So this is an annoying thing. If you backslash, it's an escape character, but I actually want the backslash, so I need to like escape the escape character. Thank you very much. Okay, so sky, sky, violet, violet. Okay. So what I'm going to do, this is fine. Okay, I have an idea now. I have an idea. I'm not going to use regular expressions anyway, but I have an idea. Okay. Okay, I have an idea. This is great. I'm going to okay. Okay. Coding challenge. Nah, just as a tutorial, it's fine. All right. So let me, it's fine, okay. All right, sorry. What time is it? Oh, I can do this. All right. Okay. Okay, the word2vec video number 3. Now, I'm still not into the actual word2vec model itself yet. I'm still just playing around with this idea of words being associated with numbers. And the example scenario that I'm using is a color, red, blue, teal, which is a word associated with numbers like its red value, its green value, its blue value in RGB space. Okay, so and all of this is based off of Alison Parrish's tutorial, Understanding Word Vectors, which is here under the Creative Commons by BY 4.0 license. Please make sure if you're using this stuff, also you attribute it, and I have a breaking news soundtrack. All right. Hello and welcome to word2vec tutorial number 3. I am not yet actually to the part where I'm going to use the word2vec algorithm model itself. I'm still just in a place where I'm looking at, okay, well, I have words and I have numbers. What does that mean? What kind of things can I do with that? And the scenario that I'm using, which is from Allison Parrish's excellent Understanding Word Vectors tutorial, available under the Creative Commons 4.0 license. Please, if you're basing stuff off of what I'm doing, also attribute this. The scenario that we're looking at is colors. So, you can find that down here. So what I have is I have a P5 sketch, which is loading this color database of the 954 most common RGB monitor colors from an XKCD survey. And I did a previous tutorial on it. So here's my idea. This is what I'm going to do in this video. I am going to take some text from the Rainbow Wikipedia page, and I'm going to say, let's sprinkle some red on it, or sprinkle some blue, or sprinkle some of this color. What does it mean to add some color to it, and how does the text change? So I've written a tiny bit of code here, basically nothing. I introduced from the previous video, I introduced a variable called lines. I'm loading this text file where I just copy paste the Wikipedia content into. You could think of a different way of doing this. And then now what I'm going to do in setup is I have a global variable called rainbow. I'm going to say rainbow equals join. When you load a text file in P5 with load strings, it gives you an array where every line is on a different in a different element of the array. So I'm going to say join lines, and I'm going to give it a delimiter like the BR tag. And then I'm just going to now add setup. I'm going to say create P rainbow. So right now what we should have, if I go here, is we should see, and I'm going to say no canvas. Although I might want to actually use the canvas a little later. We can see here I have all of that text. Now, what I want to do actually is I want to highlight and color anything in the text that appears in the color database. So I think actually what I want to do is first split this up into words. So I'm going to use rainbow.split, and you could check out my tutorials about regular expressions and word counting and all that stuff where I do this a lot. I could definitely come up with a better regular expression, but I'm just going to split by anything that's not a character that's A through Z or 0 through 9. So I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to say I equals 0, I is less than words.length, I plus plus, and I'm going to say create span words index I. Oh, this is going to, the BR stuff is going to mess up. I'm going to say this or the BR. Will this work? Oh boy, didn't like that, did it? I'm not going to worry about that. The BR stuff is going to mess that up, so I'm just going to make that a space instead. And now if I refresh this page, there, we can see all the words. Woo! Oh, whoops. All the words are together in one line. I need to put spaces between them. This is kind of a terrible idea, but I'll just do this. And now, okay, so here's the thing. So now here's the text. What if one of those words appears in the color database? So let's look. I'm going to say, let me just say, and actually another way that I could do this is I could use a for of loop. Let word of words. And then, it's just a little bit nicer to do it this way. If vectors word, if it exists, then what do I want to do? I want to get the color I want to say let color equals that, vectors word. And then I want to say, I'm going to say let span equals create span. And I'm going to say span dot background dot style. And I'm using, once again, the P5 DOM library, background color. I wish I'd saved my code from the previous video because I'm going to write exactly the same thing. RGB. And then I'm going to take, C.X, C.Y, and C.Z. C.Y and C.Z. So let's see if now we can see some of those highlighted. There, great. So anything that was in that database, I am now highlighting sky, sky, red, violet, green. Now the other thing I might as well do is I might as well store those things. So let me keep track of color spans as an array. And I'm going to add span into this array. And now I can start doing stuff. So what might I want to do? First of all, one thing I could do, which is kind of interesting, is let me just get the average color of all those things. So what if I say, I can also say let keys equal keys. I'm also going to save all of those. Sorry, time out for a second. There's a really loud noise. I don't think you guys can hear this. It's fine. Where am I? 4:15? Oh, I had to escape the slash, right. Okay. Keys, I'm going to say keys.push the word. So let's just take a look. I'm just curious here. Console log keys. So we can see these are the only things in this text that matched. And again, I should have checked for two pairs of words and things. I'm missing a lot of steps here, but you can improve my code. That would be wonderful. Make your own version of this. But let's at least get the average color here. So let's see what the average color is. So now I can say average equals create vector 0, 0, 0. So any math that you can do with numbers, you can now do with those words. Because now I can say let key of keys, and I can say v is vectors that's associated with that key, average.add, and then at the end I can say average.divide the length of all those keys. Then all I need to do is get nearest, find nearest that particular vector. And then console log nearest purplish. So the average color of this text, and this is directly again from Allison's tutorial, she has something very similar in it, is purplish. And if I wanted to now, I could create a canvas, a very small one, 50, 50, and then I could say background average.x, average.y, average.z, and we would see there it is. So that's the average color, and its label is purplish. Now, what if what I wanted to do was actually add some color or subtract some color and change the text? So let's try to do this dynamically. This is going to be hard, but this will be extra fun. So I'm going to create 3 sliders. R equals R slider, G slider, B slider. And I'm going to hope that one of you watches this video and gets inspired to make a really interesting, wonderful interface. I'm going to completely ignore anything about interface design here and just kind of do this raw. R slider equals create slider between 0 and 255 and starting with 0. And I'm going to do the same thing. And again, these are P5 functions. And I could obviously just write these DOM elements into the HTML directly. But now I have 3 sliders. And what I want to do is anytime I change any of these sliders, so I'm going to say R slider input slider changed. I'm going to call this same function if any of the sliders are changed. So I'm going to assign this slider changed event to all of these. And then I'm going to write this function, slider changed. And now I need to get the values. R equals R slider dot value. G equals G slider dot value. And B equals B slider dot value. Now let me just make sure this is working. Console.log RGB. Okay, so let me run this, and now as I move these sliders, you can see anytime I move the slider, any of these sliders, I'm getting this color value. Now I'm going to take that color value and add it to these colors, and then have the words change with the new color I'm adding. I probably should be able to, I should make it so I could subtract color too. So let's actually make it, let's just make it so I can add or subtract some amount between negative 100 and 100. Negative 100 and 100, negative 100 and 100. Okay, so now in this slider change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of the spans and keys, I guess. I could probably be more thoughtful. I'll refactor this later. But then make these global variables. And I'm going to go through all of the spans. Let span of color spans. And I'm going to get the key. The word is the HTML of that span. I actually don't have to look it up otherwise. Then the vector is the vector associated with that word. Then I'm going to say vector add RGB. I think this will work, right? This takes that vector and adds these amounts to it. Then I need to say nearest equals find nearest. Oh, I need to make a copy of it. So I don't actually want to change that vector. I need to make a copy of it. So I'm going to say copy because I'm pulling just a reference to the vector that's in that object, and I don't want to adjust it. That's the actual vector associated with the word. I want a copy of it that I'm going to mess with. And then I want to find nearest to that. And then I'm going to say span HTML, that word. So look at this. These are, let's take a look at this. These are all the color words. Let me add some more red to them. Okay, this doesn't seem to be working. Oh, I was so excited to see this work. What did I do wrong? Find v span HTML. Oh, nearest, nearest, nearest. Right, word is the original word. Nearest is the new one after I added that color. I think this is going to work. This is very exciting. So I need more space. Okay, ready? Here we go. I add a lot of red, and I got bright red and bright magenta. Let's add a lot of green. I got white already, and a lot of off-white, white, right? If I take away, subtract color, I subtract color, now I've got black. Everything is black. So look at this. You could take a whole text, any novel you like, and you could say, let's just rewrite it with a little bit more red and find any instance of any time a color is referenced. And guess what? When we do this with a more generalized word2vec system, we could actually start to add this idea of add red to words that aren't actually colors. We might have a corpus that includes way more than just these 496 or whatever that number is, color values. So hopefully you're starting to see the idea here is that with the idea of word embeddings, with words associated with vectors, with text associated with numbers, that if I can do math to the numbers, I can go translate back into words. I can always translate those words into numbers, do more math, and translate back, and do all sorts of strange transformations like this. So make a better version of this. Think about what text you're using. Fix that problem for me, where I look also for like pairs of words that match. Make a nice interface. I don't know. Think about the way you design this. There's so many possibilities. I look forward to seeing what you make with this. And see you in the next video where I actually now go to look at the ML5 library, which has a built-in class, a built-in basically feature that allows you to work with word2vec without having to write all the math yourself, which is what I'm mostly doing in this particular video. Okay? Goodbye. Oh, change the background as well. Wait, stop, hold the presses. I totally forgot that I must also change this as well. v.x, v.y, v.z. Okay, here it comes. Now, as I'm adding the colors, it's also changing what's actually the background color as well. So we can see that that's actually changing as well, which is a nicer way of looking at it. Okay, now I'm really going. Goodbye. Mwah. All right. Ray Jackson at Daniel sponsors can't as well. I'm not sure what that is referencing. A Wikipedia link to Oulipo. Oh, can't post links. Yeah, I guess you have to be a moderator. Oh, is there a Oulipo project that's like this? Does Allison reference that? And I've just completely forgotten it. Whoops. Oulipo colors. Oh, I don't know. Interesting. All right, everyone. So this is it for today, basically. I have a tiny bit more time. I don't want to launch into the next piece of this. I'm going to continue the word2vec stuff next week. But what could I do in 30 minutes? I can do this probably in like 15 minutes, right? No problem. I definitely want to do this. Oh, I don't know what these are. I don't know what generators are. I gotta learn that. What's this? Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh. Oh no, this hurts my brain. Come back to that one. I like this one though. Octahedron. You know what we should do? All right, we're going to do something. I really liked this video that Tom Scott put out. Not this one. 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 Yes, this one.
Is it me, or do all banks feel the same?
No, it's just you. I think it's just you.
One is building some.
Okay.
7-segment displays are great.
All right, so how this has got to be easy, right? Okay. Oh. All right, coding challenge. Oh, some thank you, Kraken. So you could use something like this to make a matching algorithm based off of user inputs. Interesting, interesting. Sierpinski triangle, that's a good one. Haven't I done that already though? YouTube chatbot, no, no. All right, we're gonna do this. What kind of shape is it? 7 segments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why is it encoded? I thought there was something about there being 8 possibilities. Like a 0, you could have a 0 or 1, you have 7 bits for 7 segment. Why is there 8? Does anybody watch this video? I don't feel like watching it right now. It's too long. I won't have time to do the challenge where I watch the whole video. I guess I could watch it on double speed.
We don't see them as much in electronics these days because screens are a lot cheaper than they used to be, but these used to be everywhere, from clocks to supermarket checkouts to calculators to smartphones. Here they're being used as part of the mega processor at the center of the 7-segment displays are a really clever bit of design. 7 is the minimum number of segments required to show every number using straight lines. It doesn't matter that the 4 isn't actually how most people write to number 4. It's close enough that we've all just got used to it. And 7 segments plus the decimal point.
Oh, decimal point. That's why it's 8. Okay.
10 years ago, a friend of mine called Imran wrote about hiring progress. He said they were seeing people being interviewed with good
Oh, whoops.
wrote a simple text. Now, more off, which is convenient. Computers like working segments required to show every number you.
Okay. Coding challenge. I watched this video from Tom Scott the other day, which was something about 7-segment displays and what's the longest word you can write with 7-segment displays. And there's actually some code for how to do this at the end. And I thought, let's make this in the P5 web editor. Boy, I'm not ready for this. Log in. It's coding train. So the first thing that I need to do, I think, is I need to actually make a 7-segment display. This is going to be super awkward because I'm going to do this in a terrible way, but it's the only way that I can think of to do it right now. And I've only got 30 minutes before I have to go. But now, if you look at how long this video is, even though I don't know how long it's going to be, I expect it's going to be at least 471 minutes because this is going to take me, I'm going to run into a lot of problems. But let's write a function to, let's call it 7-segment. And let's call that function with like some sort of like XY offset. And so I'm going to say push. I'm going to say pop. And now I'm going to draw, like, so what's one of those segments is, hold on, Matthew, edit this part out. One of those segments looks, I guess each segment looks kind of like this, right? It's like sort of like a rectangle with 2 triangles on the end, and then there's like another one here, 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 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's an 8th. There's a decimal point option. So I'm gonna be lazy and just make these rectangles right now, and then maybe we can, if I have time, I'll make it nicer, or you'll make a much nicer version of it. So let's make these rectangles. So let's add so first let me say translate to that x and y. And then I'm going to say, let's draw it from, I wonder if let's draw it from the top down. It's a little bit weird, but I'll just consider the top center. I'm going to say rect mode center. And I'm going to say rect x, y, and 100, 10. Let's do this. And I'm going to say fill 0. Oh, let's not put the background here. Let's put this, I forgot what I was doing, in here. Oh no, where'd it go? 200, 200. Ah, what's going on? Why is it down there? Canvas is 400. You're there. You should be here. You should be in the middle. What's going on? Only rectangle, so disappointed. Hold on. Can I start this challenge over? Wait, what did I do here? Oh, because I put the X. What's wrong with me? Oh, I'm the worst. Oh, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. All right, I'm going to start this challenge over. Because now I know what I'm doing. Okay. I got 30 minutes. Here we go. I mean, how hard could it be to make this nicer looking? Does anyone have a good idea for me? Okay. Wait, hold on. I gotta cycle the camera. Give me one mulligan on this, because I preferred this not to have any edits. And where's my eraser? And this is going to be fun. This is so totally random, but I'm going to do it anyway. Hello, welcome to a coding challenge. In this coding challenge, I'm going to attempt to make a 7-segment display, and then I'm going to write The longest word you can write with a 7-segment display. Now this is clearly based off of this Tom Scott video. I watched it the other day. It's kind of an interesting take. It has a little bit of code in it. It talks about the history of 7-segment displays and what they can and cannot display. Watch that video if you like. I'm going to attempt to remake it in the P5 editor within about 30 minutes because I got somewhere to be. And let's see how this goes. I'm sure if you go and actually look how long this video is, it's longer than 30 minutes because I'm sure I'm going to run into a lot of problems. But here's a P5 sketch. If you've never seen P5 before, it's a JavaScript library. You can create JavaScript animations and drawings and things right there in the browser, also by using the P5 editor. Lots more stuff about that in other places on my channel, I'm sure. Okay, so first I want to write a function called like 7-segment. And let's think about this. So a 7-segment display has 7 segments, and each one is kind of like a shape like this. You know, a little rectangle with 2 triangles. I might just do this as a rectangle to start. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then an 8th option, which is a dot. So I need to write a function that can basically render all of these and either fill them in or not, and fill the dot in or not. So this is really ridiculous to kind of do this in JavaScript with the canvas, but why not? It'll be fun. I mean, I'm having fun. Are you having fun? Probably not. So let's start by saying, let me use translate. So I'm going to add a push and pop so that everything that happens in this function is kind of self-contained. I'm going to give it an x and y. And so the first thing I'm going to do is translate to this x and y. And then, what if we, there's so many different ways to do this, I don't know. Let's say rectangle 0, 0, 100, 10, fill 0, and then I'm going to call 7-segment, and let's just put this at like 100, 100. So there we go. There's my 7-segment. There's 1 segment of my 7-segment display over there. I don't know. It probably should be like a little thicker than that. And obviously, I'd want to use variables for all these things. But now, if I add a second one, I can say, where would this go? -50, 0, 20, 100. Oh, that's not in the right place at all. 20. Okay, then let's move it over. 25. Oh, there it goes. Oh, because I didn't use rec mode center. Interesting. Yeah, that's fine. Let's not use rec mode center, and let's push it down a tiny bit. There we go. Oh, I'm doing a horrible job with this. Let's do this and do it at 190. Oops, I mean 90. There we go. Oh, it's 20. 80. 80. Maybe this should be 10. Just a little space there. No, not that. This should be 20. No. 30. There we go, perfect. Oh, that's exactly how I always dreamed it would be. Oh, this is wasting a lot of time. This is like this is like very cringe coding. Okay, 100, 100, 20, 120. Oh, beautiful. 130, 140. There we go, perfect. Oh, look at this. Look at those segments. This is beautiful. Then now we just need this again, but we need to just go down quite a bit further. So like 170, 170, and 240, 270, 280. And now let's draw this at like 10 and 10. And so now, in theory, what I want to do is say no stroke, no stroke. No, I want to say stroke, 0, no fill. So y, oh, because, and the fill is there. So let me put this in here. And so there we go. This is now my horribly designed 7-segment display. I can't wait for people to redo this and actually make it the proper 7-segment display design. But let's see. Here's the thing. Now what I want to do is give it a number. Like all I need to do is give it a value. And so I could give it an array. Maybe I should give it an array like 0 that has zeros and ones. But technically speaking, if I want this to be somewhat pure and related to the original 7-segment display, the idea is that I just give it a number, an 8-bit number, separate out all the bits, and then apply the fills according to what those bits are. Let's try it. So let's say, how do I do this bit stuff in JavaScript? Bit masking, maybe? Bit shifting. I could do bit shifting or masking. Bit masking JavaScript. Let me explain what I mean by this. Oh boy. Okay, so what I mean by bit masking, for example, is let's say I have some binary number that's 8 bits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What if I just want to know, is this number a 0 or a 1? Well, I could do some kind of like AND operation. Like what if I did an AND operation with all ones? Right? If I did an AND operation with all ones, well, no. Sorry, an AND operation with zeros everywhere except for the 1 bit that I'm looking at, then all of these will end up being zeros, and this will either be a 0 or a 1. So I could kind of test the value that way. I could also shift all the bits so that this one always just ends up over here, and then I could do something, and then I could basically do an AND operation with just 1, something like that, right? I'm leaving left shift or an AND. Bitwise operators. What's a nice way to do it? Sorry, I'm looking at this tutorial here. I can use or ampersand. So let's try. All right, so let's assume we get this value, and I'm gonna say no loop here. And what I want to do is, let's say I'm going to say console. Actually, let's just let's play around in the console for a second. This is a nice way to figure out JavaScript code. Like if I say, let's say I say the number 100. People are pasting all sorts of stuff in the chat for me. And I say shift by 1. Does that make sense? I get 50. It's like divide by 2. Think about that. That's crazy. 100 in binary. Is there a nice, look at this. This is 100 in binary. If I shift this over by 2, I have 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. What if I say 50 in binary? Look at that, right? Yes, yes. That's the same exact number, but shifted over. Fascinating, amazing. So what I want to do is go back to here, and I used to do this stuff all the time, but no one ever has to do it anymore. So it's hard to like figure out on the fly. I really should have planned this out in advance. Okay, so let's say first I don't want to shift at all. So I just want to know what is the value of that last bit. So if I do this, I get a 0. If I do this, I get a 1, right? So an AND with a 1 will always give me the last value of the bit. So I should be able to do, this might be I'm in some other code. This code is irrelevant from a different tutorial. What I can do is I can basically say val, so I want to say what is, I'm going to say let result, basically I want to say, let's do color mode. Color mode RGB 1. So I just want to get a 0 or a 1. So I am going to say fill the value shift, no shift, ampersand 1. So that's filling it, it's a 0. So if I pass in a 1, it's filling it, I pass in a 2, it's 0, 3, a 4. So I shifted everything over 1 and then masked it. Now I could say, for this one, and I'm sure there's a nice way to do this in a loop, shift that over, then I could just do it by 2, by 3, by 4, and I probably don't have the order right. So by 1, by 2, by 3, whoops, by 3, by 4, by 5, by 6. There we go. So now if I say pass in 100, I get this. 200, I get this. So whatever that value, theoretically that value, all I need to know is what number corresponds to which letter. Okay, so this is good. Now I need some kind of dictionary to show me all the letters and how what their corresponding number is, or a big array. Boy, how am I going to do that? Does that even exist? I might have to Google this for a little bit and come back. 7-segment display dictionary, or how would I, specification. No. Here we go. 128 states. I'm not using the convention, but could I adjust mine to the convention easily? Right? 0, 1, 2. You need to label your segments correctly, but yes, you should be able to get them. I wasn't kidding when I said I'd go at 5. Oh, I forgot about the dot, but the dot's the easy part. I'm just like staring at this as if that's going to help. Oh, I could have done it like this. Here we go. All right. I found what I was looking for. You can just change the order easily. Yep. All right. A, B, C, D, E, F. All right. I'm back. I found exactly what I'm looking for, which is the hexadecimal encodings for the displaying of the digits 0 through F. This will help me, right? Because there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So on is the number 0, which should be this in hexadecimal. Oh, could you just give me the non-hexadecimal version of this? But I think I could probably just do this. So if I go back to my code, right, and I'm going to pass this in. Okay, that clearly didn't work, but you can see that this gives me 1, 2, 3, everything on but this one. So I think the order is different. So my order is, my order is like so ridiculous. It's top, left, right, middle, bottom, left, bottom, right, bottom. So I should really change the order of mine. This is really a cockamamie way of doing this. So the next segment is the one that's on the right. So let me write some comments here. Top left. No, that's not right. Yeah, top right. Middle. Bottom left. I think this is right. I don't know if this is right. Bottom right. Whoops. Bottom right, and then this one should be hopefully the bottom. And now let's just make sure I'm right. Top. Oops. Yep. Left. Yep. Right. Yep. Middle. No. Whoops. Uh-oh. This goes here. Middle and bottom left. Okay, I'm pretty confident the rest is right. Okay, so the first one is the top. So I think it's backwards, actually. Hold on. Okay, so so a 0, if I go back to Wikipedia, a 0 is on, off. So the middle is the last one. Okay. Let me go back here. So the middle should be the last one. Where is that one? Middle? That should be the last bit. And then middle is here. Oh, no. The middle is the first one. Because it's the only one that's different. Middle. Okay, and then, what is this? I don't know what's next. Well, let's move them all down. Boy, I really messed this one up. Okay. All right, so that's a 0. And by the way, I should really design this. All right, so let's see. I got that right. Trial and error is your friend. A 1. A 1. Interesting. No. Oh yeah, these are these are the only two. A 1 is just these two. So this one's right, this needs to switch. A map of the letters to the segments. Look up the Wikipedia. Okay, hold on. We got to do this more methodically. What I want is not this, right? I want to know which one of these, right? Clearly, G, this last one is the middle, which for me is the first one. And then, like if I look at this, the middle is the last one. Then the second two are the last two. See, this is going to drive me totally crazy. I don't want the hexadecimal. It's further up the page. Further up, further up the page. I don't see it though. This? Oh, this. This is showing me all the bits, this image. Look up. The top of the wiki. This is the order A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh! But they weren't numbered. How am I supposed to know that? Hello, I'm back. You didn't have to watch that. The chat is full of rage, apparently, because right in front of my face, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. I just didn't recognize that because they're letters and I'm thinking about them as numbers. Okay, so the top, it goes, and actually this is similar to how I thought of it. So if I go back to my code here, it should be, but I think I'm doing it backwards. So I think the top rectangle is the last one. Well, let's try it. Let's try it this way. Top. So it should be. Oh yeah. So it should be. Top is the first one is the top one, which is this one. Then to the right is still is a tall one. This is to the left. Oh, I screwed this up. Well, let me go back to like the actual. So this is now, I think. So hold on, Mathieu. We're gonna go back and edit again. Yeah, all the comments are out of step. That's why I'm going back. Top. top, left, right, middle, bottom left. Okay, I think this is right now. Oh, thank you. Nobody in the Slack chat now chat, because I can look at that. Thank you for posting that for me. Okay. Label them A, B, C, D, and not top, bottom, left. You think? Okay. Okay, the chat is full of rage. They're all telling me, it's there on the page, it's there on the page. I am blind and so focused on the numeric indices that I didn't realize that this is it right here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's that order, and then of course there's also this last one here. So I should go back to my comments, my lovely comments, and I should say A. And then top left is F. And top right is B. The middle is G. And the bottom left is E, C, and then what letter do I have left? D. And now I can just put them in order. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. Yes, you're watching a person singing the alphabet song while coding. It's very soothing. W, X. Okay, so this is good. Now, I just need to fix this. Val, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, shift 4, shift 5, shift 6. And then this should be good. Let's try putting in some things that we should get. Let's go back down to here. Let's see what we get here. Oh, if I might have done it in reverse, which is fine. I could just use this number if I did it in reverse. Let's find out. Okay, so now let's put in here. There we go. No. No. That didn't work. It didn't work at all. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. I have to go. Comments on the lines themselves would be neater. Yeah, let's hold on. So, oh yeah, missing the bit for the decimal point. So let's add the. This doesn't look right, but let's at least add the bit for the decimal point. Decimal point, and then shift 7, and then I think it's all going to become clear. We're drawing ellipse at like 100, 400, 10, 10. Where's that ellipse? 400, 200. This is trial and error, my friend. There we go. Make it a little smaller. Beautiful. A little bit up. Okay, so now let's say shift from 7 to 1. So I think actually this should be, the first one is shift by 7. Will this actually work? Do I have to put these? Shift by 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then this, no shift. All right, what did I do wrong? Oh, so close, so close. The decimal is the first bit, right? So that should be right. Why is this? Yeah, the middle, A, B, this must not be the order. Right? This must not actually be the order. I think this is telling me the order. Middle, this is actually the order. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is the order, to be honest. It is The order is actually, the middle thing is first, or last in my case. So this misled me, the A, B, C. The actual thing that's first is G. It goes G, F, A, B. Oh, it's so confusing. G, G. Oh, this is the worst. Oh, F, A, B. Okay. F. Whoops. Come back. No, come back. Cut. Paste. And now shift by 7, shift by 6, shift by 5, shift by 4. Now shift by, is this right? 3, 2, 1, and then 0. Okay, so let's see here. This is right. The question is does it keep going A, B? No. Then it is this one, this one, this one, this one. This one, this one. So then the order is EDC decimal point, I think. EDC decimal point, maybe. Is it EDC or CDE? Let's try E, D. Okay, so 0 is right. Now let's try some other ones. Oh, no, Tom, I hope you never watch this video. That's going to be the saddest thing. All right, let's try 1. So let's try 1. Ah! G, F, A, B, E, D, C decimal point. Yeah, no kidding, the horizontal segments are too wide. Those pins on the LED, it isn't the order. No? F, G, F, A, B, E, D, C, D, P. But it wasn't the other order either. It certainly was, the first one was this one. All right, hold on, I'm going to trust the chat. I should do this again. G, F, A, B, E, D, C, D, P. G, hold on. I don't remember. G, hold on. Let's do something fun. Let's do one for each segment. Let's do function. No. A7 as is A. I should really do this in a loop, and these should be objects, and I could order them in any way that I want. It was the other order. The table is 7-bit hex. It may be 1 bit out. The A, B, C, D, E, F, G you had before is perfect. All right, let's go back to it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So if this is right, why is it not showing me a 0? What's wrong now? G, F, A, B, E, D, C. Is that correct? G, F, A, B, E, E, D, C, decimal place, and we've got, half an hour passed. And now we've got, and now we've got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and decimal place. Okay, that's a 0. Now let's try a 1. Oh, wait, that's what I had before. That was wrong. You guys are torturing me. Oh, that's just the link to what I'm doing. You weren't actually giving me a correct answer. Oh. Okay, hold on. Mathieu, we're gonna make a crate. We're gonna go way back and edit. People watching the version of this, the final version of this, will never know the horror. I mean, they will know the horror. What? Oops, no. All right. I'm back to this. So what you're telling me okay. Me, I am, so me, and yours, you're shifting for the dot also 7, which you want to do 0, I would think, right? Ding, ka-ching, ka-ding. But how would I? Okay, I see. So why is that wrong? Well, so if I do 8. And the middle. Oh, I lost the YouTube chat. You should honestly redo this later and use a loop or something. No kidding. The DP is 7. Start at 6. So is this also correct? Like this, the decimal place is really first or last. Right, this is correct, yes? Is this correct? I kind of want to just start over from scratch. Yeah. I think this is right. I think I got it right. Not technically. Why not? I have to go. I'm going to come back and do this again in like an hour. I'm going to start over. All right, let's try. One. Two. Except I really should do it the other way around. Like, yeah. Close enough. The issue you're telling me is that it's not right because where is the decimal place? Like, which bit is the decimal place? Okay. The question is, how can I make this into something that Mathieu can follow? I'm going to go back to, I'm just going to start over. I should just do this again, right? I don't know what to do. I'm lost. It's a matter if you put the decimal place bit on the left or right of the other bits. I don't know that there's a standard for that. Right. I'm not going to worry about the decimal place right now. And make people want to make it red. All right. The question is now, I think I've gone too crazy that I'm just going to do this again. I had some practice. I mean, I might as well just start over, right? Okay. All right, let's do it again. I have to go, but I'm not going to. Okay. All right. Consider OOP. All right, here we go. Whoops, no. All right, everybody. Here we go. We're going to make this happen. All right, hello, welcome to a coding challenge. Okay, I'm very excited about this one. This is the second try, by the way. The first try, things went haywire. They will go haywire again, but I'm going to give myself about 30 minutes here, a little late for somewhere I have to be, to try to create a 7-segment display. Now, I got this idea from watching this Tom Scott video about 7-segment displays, and Tom Scott talks a little bit about how they work and looks at what kind of letters and numbers they can display and uses a regular expression to try to find the longest word you can write with 7 segments displays. So in this video, I just want to make a visualization of the 7-segment display, which is in JavaScript, in the browser, in Canvas, which is admittedly kind of a ridiculous thing to do. But I feel like if I can make one, then you, the viewer, can take what I've done and make a bigger display. Then you can display different words. You could implement Tom Scott's code with the data files and actually visualize that. There's so many possibilities. All right, so let's talk about the 7 segments. The 7 segments of a 7-segment display are like this. 1, 2, there's 7 of them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, of course, they're like a nicer design with this, sort of looks like this. They're kind of tilted. So I'm going to make a very crude version of it, probably just with rectangles. And I'm not even going to use an array. You could do this in an object-oriented way to keep track of each one of these as an individual object. Then you could have an array of objects in each one of these things. There's a lot. I'm going to just do it in the crudest way possible. So first, let me try to draw this pattern. And one thing that's going to be important as I do this, it's a good thing I'm on the second try because I really botched this the first time, is if I go down here, this order is super important. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and decimal place. And okay, so I want to draw them in this order. So let me go back to my code. Let me write a function called 7segment. And then I'm going to say at the beginning, I'm going to use push and pop to kind of condense. The idea is this function, I could make an object. I kind of would like to make an object. Whatever. This function is going to draw all of the segments relative to some point. So I could probably, might make sense to draw it relative to here. It might make sense to draw it relative. Let's try drawing it relative to here right now. So the first rectangle will be, and this is going to be very hard-coded, admittedly. Let's say it's going to be a rectangle, and it's going to be at, let's go 10 pixels in, 10 pixels down, 100 pixels wide, 10 pixels high. And let's say fill 0. Quit messaging me. Fill 0. I know the chat is going to be full of rage again. It's bound to happen. Oh, I've got to call the function. Oh, I've really lost my sense of how to code. Call the function. There it is. Let's make it a little fatter, and let's put it 20 pixels in and 20 pixels down. And let's actually put it 40 pixels in, because the next one I want to do, B, I'm going to put at, it should start at like 140 pixels, 40 pixels down. Then it should be 20 pixels wide and 100. And I could have rotated it. But basically, I want to do that. Then I'm going to do the one on the left. No. Where's next? Then further down again. So everything's the same. Each length is 100, plus there's a buffer of like 20. So I need to make this 160, I think. There we go. And then what's next? D. And I should put some comments here, right? This is A. This is B. This is C, and of course I could create an algorithm, write a loop, I could use translate, rotate, so many possibilities. I'm not doing it that way, I'm doing it my way. I don't care. There's 7, I can do all 7. D is at the bottom. D is actually really A, but just a lot further down, like 220, let's just guess. There we go, 260. Oop, whoops, no. That's right. Now, what's after D? A, B, C, D, E. E. E is actually like C. E is very similar to C, but with the X values of A, right, which is 40. And the Y value, why is it, What did I do here? Oh, maybe this one is wrong. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. Yeah, that's right. This one is a little bit off. It's got to go. Oh, it's going to be. Actually, these have to be a little bit smaller. I forgot about the buffer. So this is actually a little bit shorter, like this. There we go. That's kind of right. And then the first one also should be that. This is the most fun I've had coding in a long time. Isn't it nice just to like hard code rec? This is like the first week of learning to program in P5. It's just like hard coding shapes. I love it. F, which one's F? F is up higher. It's like B, but over. So let's start with B. Start with B, but move it to here. There we go. And then this is F, and then G is the middle. Ooh, this is exciting. G is like A. It's like A, but it's halfway down. So like 140? Yeah, look at that, my 7-segment display. Mwah! Part 1 of this. Now I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so here we go. Good, excellent. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to say stroke 0, and I'm going to say no fill. Okay. Ooh, ugh. I don't like how that looks. A little more. Can I get like a? What if I just do like all of these, like a little bit less, like 78, 18. Ooh, I'm starting to like this. 18. Oh, come on. Just bear with me. You don't mind me doing this. Just go make yourself a cup of tea. I'll be done in a second. There's sometimes just like hard coding stuff. It's just like the loveliest, nicest thing to do. I don't keep the chat is full of rage. The chat needs to relax. Take a deep breath. Fine. This is soothing. Look at that. Okay. Oh, I like it. It's weird, but I like it. Okay, so this is like nonsense what I've done. You are going to make your own much nicer version of this with little triangles and all sorts of stuff like that. I really botched it here. But what I'm going to do now is I need to figure out a way to turn each one of these on or off. I don't know where this pink marker came from, but I love you, pink marker. So how am I going to do that? So the idea of a 7-segment display is that each one of these is assigned, and there's, by the way, a decimal point here, which is why there are 8, is assigned a bit in an 8-bit number. So you could think of an array of zeros and ones that has 8 in it. 0, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, that's 9, right? Where I would go 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, and then the decimal place. And I think sometimes the decimal place is maybe the first or the last bit. I'm not entirely sure. I was trying to look up the documentation for this. So something that I could do, though, is instead of having an array, what if I had any generic number? 256. So I can use something called bit shifting or bit masking. So I can do a bitwise operation. Oh, I'm so happy to do a bitwise operation. You very rarely in programming anymore, especially in JavaScript, actually shift the bits, right? That's usually a thing you're doing in a much sort of like lower level place. So let's say I have this actually as a binary number. And what I want to do is I want to figure out which one of these, if this particular digit, let's say, is on or off. Well, if I do what's called an AND operation with 1, right? And by the way, I have the wrong number of things here, but whatever. If I do an AND operation with 1, all of these will always end up 0. And then if a 1 is here, if a 1 is here, I will get a 1. If a 0 is here, 0 and a 1 is a 0. So if I can shift the bits over and then AND with 1, I just have to not shift to check this one, shift by 1, shift by 2, shift by 3, shift by 4, shift by 5, shift by 6, etc. So, and in order to do this in JavaScript, this is shift the bits to the right, shift the bits to the left, and then this is AND. I could also do an OR if I wanted to do an OR operation. So in other words, if I say now here's the thing. I've kind of I went around in circles with this when I was trying this earlier. I need to do something to test. So in other words, if I look down here, this is, you can see this is, if the encoding is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or I don't know which one I'm doing, G, right? Then that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then on, off. So to get a 0, presumably I pass this in. And what I'm going to do, and thank you to Me for making this suggestion, I'm going to pass in a value. And what I'm going to do first is just shift it by 1, because I got to get rid of the thing for the decimal place. So I'm actually just going to shift it by 1 before I come in here. And I didn't actually do the decimal place. I'll let you do the decimal place maybe in your version. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say fill, val shifted by 6 or 7 or 1. I don't know. Now I'm lost. I need to shift these all. If it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I want to shift by 6, yes. And then ampersand it bitwise with 1, right? This is what I'm talking about. And then I also probably, now this is no good. I want to do color mode. I also need to do color mode RGB 1. So in other words, what I want is to get a 0 a 0 means black and a 1 means white. So this now, if I shift by 5, shift by 4, shift by 3, I totally did this wrong. I've done it wrong again, but let's just get this out of here. Shift by 2, shift by 1, and shift by 0. Oh, so close. That doesn't look right. What did I do? Maybe I need to shift the other way here. Hold on. Let's do this. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why I got confused. So this is actually right. I don't know. I was thinking I had to shift the bit out of the place, but actually if I just start with 6 here. Right, if I shift the bit out of the place, out of the way, then I need to start with 7 here, I think. That didn't work. Anyway, I had it right. Oh, it's so confusing. Everybody, don't hate me. Don't be filled with rage. Good enough. Okay, that's a 0, except for the fact that I kind of want it highlighted to be, I kind of want it to be inverted. So I actually should say, let me write a function, get color, and the value and the amount of shift. And what I'm going to do is return. So I'm going to say the red value, people I think want me to, in the chat, they're saying they want me to make it red. The red value is the value with the amount of shifting and ampersand 1. And let's forget about this color mode thing. And let's actually say let's do this, multiply this by 255 and say GB. Actually, this is silly. This can just be 0. I'm only doing the red value. And then I'm going to say fill, get color, and shift by 6 with that value. Return color RGB. And here we go. All right, this is very exciting. I'm just going to sit here and copy paste this calmly, smoothly, little by little. And by the way, if you were wondering why I'm not using a loop here, it's only because I want to drive you crazy. And I've lost my semicolons. 4, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, so what's going on now? 250 times as value shift. Oh boy, this has to be in parentheses. There we go. Oh, but it's backwards. So 255 minus R. No, that was right. Actually, that was right. And then it shouldn't be 0. It should be, actually, I should really let the alpha be this. And then if the alpha is 0, there we go. Hooray, I made a 0. Okay, so now, look at this. Let's say, let nums equal. So now, if I go here and I say, this is 0. 0, oops, no, go away. 0. Lots of copying and pasting. I can speed this up, somebody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to get there eventually. 5, 6. Yes, you're watching a person copy paste these hexadecimal things one at a time. 6, 7, I don't know, can we put some like music or some animation in post-production here? Speed this up. I don't know, anything creative to make this something you could watch. 7, 8, I don't know, 9, I lost count. 9. Okay, now, nums, index, index. Let index equal 0. And then I'm going to say frame rate 1, index plus plus. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oh, and error. Okay, so now we can say index plus plus, index equals index plus 1 modulus nums.length. And I'm going to make the frame rate 5, and I'm going to zoom in on this, and here we go. Oh, that's way too fast for me. I can't handle it. Let's put on some music. And thank you very much. There's your 7-segment display, counting through the hexadecimal values for 0 through. So now, here's the thing. I've got an exercise for you. Could you make a clock out of this? Could you make this object-oriented, refine the code, make the design actually look like a nice 7-segment display? Think about color, make a rainbow 7-segment display. So many possibilities. And also go back to this video, and if I scan here towards the end, this is the longest word, apparently, that you can display on a 7-segment display. So follow Tom's code. It's a node, but there's no reason why instead of using like read file sync, you can just use load strings in P5, get that same database, and you can add this code in and do something fun with it. Share it with me. I mean, share it with Tom. Tom Scott. This is not endorsed by, I just did this on my own. But I think it could be some fun possibilities of things you can make. Do in the P5 web editor. Share it on the codingtrain.com website. 7-segment display somewhere. Share it with me on Twitter @Schiffman or all those kind of other places. Mastodon, whatever. Choo-choo.space. And I'll see you in a future coding challenge. That was painful to write. Watch. White's joke. E should have x20. This is going far better than before. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. There, I just made my guest video for Tom Scott's channel. Matt Chick, we edit this by October 15th, and I'll just submit it. I've got to go. I am half an hour late for this meeting I was going to go to, but I stayed here because I love you, the viewers of the Coding Train. And I'm going to save this now. So incidentally, you can get going with the code right now. If someone could paste this into the YouTube chat. And I will be back in a future coding challenge. Oh, no, I'm going to continue the word2vec stuff next Friday. That's probably the plan. So that's my tentative plan, is continue word2vec with, and I'm going to use ML5, I'm going to use the gensim Python package and do more stuff with that. Okay, thanks for watching everybody today. And add a round border to your rectangle. That's what I should have done. Anyway, I'm not going to change this stuff now. You're all much better than me. And I'll see you there. Okay. Oh, Nathan Growl, your super chat went unnoticed. Okay, hold on. No, that's send a super chat. Where do I find them? It doesn't, there's no way if it goes by without me seeing it. Oh, wait. A solar liner, is that you, Nathan Growl? Ooh, and it had you have the rainbows in it. That's amazing. Thank you, solar liner. Rainbow super chat made me so happy. Dark background. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Or how about think actually it looks best with this. And then all right, I'm going to do a quick, what are some other like small refinements, and maybe I'll just do a quick intro. The rounded rectangle. Ooh, I like this. There we go. This looks better, right? Okay. Okay. I know. I'm just trying to think of like, what's 20, 25 would be better what? Okay. Oh, interesting. There, that's even better. Okay. Well, maybe I'll. Okay. Okay. What you are about to watch is a coding challenge. In a moment, I'm going to say, hello, welcome to a coding challenge. I apologize if this is happening twice, but I just wanted to show you what it is at the beginning, because I also made some refinements thanks to things that people in the chat suggested after I finished the coding challenge. So what I am attempting to make here is what's called a 7-segment display. This is based off a Tom Scott video that I'll reference in a second. And you can see here is the final result. And the things that I've added after the coding challenge finished were a little bit of nicer colors and rounded rectangles. So it's a little bit nicer. So I hope you make something fun with this and enjoy this coding challenge where I do this in kind of a way that's going to make you want to complain about my coding abilities. But that's fine. Complain away. I'm here for it in the comments. At me. All that stuff. Enjoy. And then one other option might be, all right, I know that coding challenge seemed like it just ended, but people in the chat had some additional suggestions and I was tinkering, so I want to just show you these quick suggestions, which are, for example, I added rounded rectangles, which you can see makes it look kind of nice. And then also what I did is I instead of a stroke, I gave the off segments like a little bit of alpha. So it's almost as if they're appearing. It feels more like an actual lit 7-segment display. But I think you are going to be even more creative in what you end up making with this. So just wanted to show you those little quick tidbits. Goodbye. So I will let Mathieu figure out whether it makes sense to have an extra intro or an extra thing at the end or neither. And then I have to do one. I really was going to shut this off and record these, but I think what I'm going to do is just do it with you guys watching. So where's a good spot here?
I'm just going to go ahead and get started with
Trying to find a nice thumbnail or something-y spot to pause.
So I'll fix that.
Oh, this is good. Oh, I'm standing in front of Nabil. This is weird. Actually, it's weird that he's like frozen here. All right, never mind. I'll just start with his outline. This is better. It's like it's there. Okay. Okay. Oh, and I haven't been recording any of this to disk. Ugh, but it's fine. We can take it down from YouTube. Hello, welcome to another. Okay, hold on. Okay. Hello, welcome to a tutorial about long, short-term memory networks, neural networks, machine learning, with a guest, Nabil Hussain. So what you're about to watch is an edited version of a live stream that happened a couple weeks ago with Nabil Hussain, who is a Brooklyn-based artist and educator. A lot more information about Nabil in this video's description that you can check out. Nabil is going to show you how to train a neural network to learn about. Let me do this again. I forgot what I was doing here, and I have to mention spell.run. Okay. Hello, welcome to a video tutorial. This video tutorial is part of the Spell series. So this is sponsored by Spell. Thanks very much. Go to spell.run/codingtrain to sign up for an account before you follow along with this tutorial if you want. And okay, so what are you about to watch? This is an edited version of a live stream that happened a couple weeks ago with guest Nabil Hussain. Nabil Hussain is a Brooklyn-based artist and educator. He has lots of super wonderful, interesting work and things that he's done that you can learn more about on his website, which will be linked to in this video's description. What he's going to show you here is how to take a corpus of text and train a machine learning system. This machine learning system will use something called an LSTM. It's a neural network architecture that that's really good for sequences, like sequences of words or characters or musical notes. So he's going to train an LSTM model off a corpus of text. He's going to train that in the cloud using the Spell platform in TensorFlow. Then he's going to download the trained model and use it in JavaScript in the browser with ML5 to generate new text in the style of the original corpus on which it was trained. So that's what you're going to watch from end to end, beginning to end, a full tutorial. You're going to want to have a Python environment set up, know a little bit about Spell, and also have like a code editor so you can write some JavaScript code with HTML. So notifications, go away notifications. So I hope you enjoy this video. Maybe Mathieu just do a little edit there since this is supposed to be professional. So before you begin, you're going to want to So before you begin, if you've never watched any of my videos before, you might want to take a look at the workflow videos because you're going to need a code editor and a Python environment, and I have videos about how to set that stuff up, as well as probably look at just my intro to Spell video to understand how the cloud computing platform works. But Nabil will show you all that stuff step by step through this video as well. So hope you enjoy it. Please, if you make something, if you make your own, train your own model, make your own project with this, share it with me at Schiffman on Twitter, share it in the comments here. I would love to hear about it, okay? Enjoy it, and thank you so much, Nabil, and thank you so much, Spell.run. All right, that's done. That's done. What about an outro? I don't think I need an outro. Maybe I need one just in case. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to the end of this video. All right, I just did. All right, thank you so much, Nabil. Thank you to Spell. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, if you make something, if you train a model and make your own project, please share it with me in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Okay? Enjoy, and I'll see you in a future Coding Train video. Okay. So that's fine. So I think that'll have to be good enough. Always good to do these things at the end. And now I'm really going to go save. Okay, goodbye everybody. See you next Friday. I don't know the exact time yet, but I will post it hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday. subscribe, click the alarm bell, you'll get a notification, all that sort of stuff. And I will see you on the more videos to come. I have so many things in the backlog of being edited and uploaded. So hopefully you'll catch those and leave a comment and all that sort of stuff. Thank you. There were too many people talking in the background? Really? Like it was loud? All right, one more time just in case. I'm basically just missing this meeting anyway at this point, which is fine. I'm not crucial to it. I just wanted to go to it.
ML5.js. Great. See you then.
Okay. It was fine. Someone in the Slack channel, could you let me know if I really need to do that again? Of course, it'll just take me 2 seconds. All right. I could always redo it on Monday anyway. I'm going to just do it one more time just in case, because it's literally going to take me less than a minute. And Mathieu, and I'm also going to record. I wasn't recording to disk, so let me do that too. It's fine. Sorry, everyone. You go away. Go do something else now. But I'm streaming this mostly as like a backup. Hello, welcome to a video tutorial. That's what happens on this channel, I guess. So this is sponsored by Spell. Thank you so much to Spell for the sponsorship. What you're about to watch is an edited version of a live stream that happened a couple weeks ago with a guest educator and artist, Brooklyn-based educator and artist, Nabil Hussain. I recommend that you check out his website, linked in this video's description, to learn more about his background and his current work and all sorts of wonderful stuff that he is up to. So what you're going to see from beginning to end in this video is the process for taking a corpus of text, training a machine learning model. This particular model is called LSTM, long short-term memory neural network. Nabil will explain that a bit more in the video and offer you some resources to learn about it. Train a model to learn about that text. Train it in the cloud on Spell. You can go to spell.run/codingtrain if you want to sign up for that service and follow along with the tutorial. Then download the trained model, then bring that trained model into the browser and with JavaScript generate new text in the style of the original text that the model was trained on. So you're going to see the full process for this tutorial. Probably if you've never watched any of my videos before, you're new to coding, you might want to watch some of my workflow videos that show you how to like set up your environment. You're going to need you're going to need a Python environment. You're going to need a code editor and know how to run a web page in your browser that you're developing locally on your computer. But I have videos that show all that stuff. I also have a video that introduces the Spell platform and gives you some background about how that works. All right, so I hope you enjoy this video. If you make something with this, please share it with me. I would love to see what kind of crazy and interesting and wacky and original and fun and playful projects you are inspired to make by learning how to do this. Thank you again to Nabil for being here to make this tutorial and for Spell for the sponsorship. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, the only noises was on the outro. It was on the outro. Well, I made an extra one just in case. All right. Thank you so much, Nabil, for this wonderful tutorial. Again, thank you to Spell for the sponsorship. If you make something with this, please share it with me. I would really love to know about it. And I'll see you in a future tutorial. Many more machine learning, ML5, Python-y, TensorFlow-y things to come, I hope. Goodbye. All right. All right, so anyway, all right, now I am really going. Thank you for being here today. I don't know why, I was having this like week of just feeling like, ugh, what am I doing? I don't know what, my brain doesn't work anymore. None of my tutorials make sense anymore. What am I doing? I don't know, I've just felt like that all week and I feel a little bit re-energized. I like doing this on Friday too because I feel like work week is over. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna have a beer, relax, and spend time with family this weekend and catch up on a lot of work on Monday. So I hope you also have a good weekend, get to spend time with friends, family, whoever, internet friends, real life friends, all those types of things. And I'm going to go check out the end of this meeting. Send me your feedback, make some Mastodon bots, take a break from code for a while, and all that stuff. Okay, here we go. Goodbye.